Hello, 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 hello again. Season well and truly done, but football always continues. Gossip, rumours, transfers, all the rest of it. And the window's not even open till the 14th. However, we've got lots to talk about. And there's the small matter of the Euros to contend with as well. So I'm sure we'll get into it with all the stuff. As usual, Paxton Road TV, PRTv Spurs. I am Sam, Spurs for life. Let's get going. How does that microphone look? Better? Good place?
Oh, looks
better?
Good.
Okay, right. We'll have these people in. You can hear them in the background. They are part of the gang, the crew, the members. Sid, Sean, Darius, welcome to the stream. How are we all, fellas?
All good, all good. Good afternoon to everybody. Hope everyone is well.
Yeah, fine. Looking forward to talking about Tottenham Hotspur.
I'm doing good.
As ever.
You got a little bit of a delay there, Darius, because you're about...
Is that a t-shirt or a scarf you've got on, or a handkerchief you've got on there?
For me?
Darius is slagging the old... You need to get yourself sorted out, mate, and come back in when you're less lagging, because that looks like a very serious face you've got on there. So we'll continue, as always. Gentlemen, talking points. We're having a good old talk. Title of my show, as always, Cryptical. Oh, he's come back. I'm going to get rid of that other one then and add this one in.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Is that any better? Can you hear me? Are we all in sync in time?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was saying, Sean, I like your scarf, handkerchief, whatever that is. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Handkerchief? What's he going to be wearing a handkerchief around his neck? It's not bloody Pirates of the Caribbean.
He's a Wild West Spurs fan. He's a Wild West Spurs fan.
What's going on here?
All the way from Palestine, my friend. All the way from Palestine.
Good to see you supporting. Good to see you supporting.
Title of the show. Here we go. Oh, take off the banner.
Summer loving. Have me.
Got it. Yo, Sid.
Very creative. Very creative. Sam's always quite creative with the titles, I have to admit.
Bam! Come on. You got to give me some credit for them titles, man.
You can have a bit of credit. You can have a bit of credit.
It took me about all of 30 seconds to get to that one. I thought,
you don't say that bit. That's the bit you don't say.
One of my favourite movies ever.
Is that from that song? Summer love, summer heat. You know
I don't know that one.
No, I don't know that one, Sid.
I know the Grease one.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This is turning into a cruel, cruel summer.
We're all going over the top now. I think it's time to start the show, people. Otherwise, we could descend into a farce very quickly. Anyway, transfer window's not open yet. But before we do all of that, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all the things that you need to do for the channel. Paxton Road TV, PRTv Spurs. As always, the announcements are as of the end of July, 31st of July. Will be our last stream on Paxton Road TV. We are not going anywhere. We are going to just transition over to Paxton Road TV. No, PRTv Spurs for the long term. So make sure you go over and subscribe to that channel. We need everybody to go over there that's already subscribed, already watching all the rest of that stuff. So we'll get into the show. What's been happening then, guys? I've been trying to... I've learned over the years that there's a lot of gossip that happens at this time. A lot of stories get created just so that we click and so that we can read and such that we open up this link and all the rest of that stuff. And a lot of it is pretty much bollocks. But the things that we have actually done, obviously we've had a good discussion about it. Timo Werner signed up. Oh, fantastic. We've had a couple of players. Brandon Austin. Who else has signed new contracts for us? Brandon Austin. Anybody else?
Not
Joe Rogan has an extra year.
Joe Rogan, that's it. That's the one. I was almost going to call him Joe Rogan, but he ain't as rich as Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has got a year extension onto his contract. I think that's making him now available up until, his contract runs out next year, 2025. I think they've done that to obviously try and get some money for him, unless it's 2026, but I don't think it would be.
No, it's only a year. It's only a year.
It's only a year. So that's all right, I guess, even though he's not played for us, really. so they're trying to get money for him. But then they've just released our friend
Burger Boy.
It's not his fault that he's Burger Boy. Well, that is, but it's not his fault that he was on 200 grand a week. But Burger Boy, Tanguy Endom Balls is now gone. Or effectively gone.
Well,
Wait, boys, wait.
I'm loving it.
So come on then, talk to me about Tango before we talk about anything else, because this is one of the things that I've criticised Spurs for in the past, is not getting contracts written off, letting people run down contracts, having to deal with a person that's on 200 grand a week who had another.
There we go.
Yeah, what's going on?
Sorry, I was just celebrating. Sorry,
Darius, the first rule of comedy is timing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to rewatch the bloody show now to know what you did. I didn't even know what happened there.
the first one didn't work.
The damp squid. Yeah. A
First
bit like Tanguy and Ndombele.
Pretty much.
First and foremost, though, guys, we've got to congratulate Arsenal on getting all the celebrations and videos ready. All their YouTubers getting the videos ready to sign Sesko. And then he went, let me see that contract.
That made me so happy. That made me so happy.
Let's go to Solanke. Oh,
it's
how the mighty have fallen.
It's funny. It's funny. But no, in all seriousness, though, this is one of the things we wanted to just kind of touch on. The cancellation or making room for players, because you can't keep buying players if you don't sell players or move players on. And we've been probably guilty of it for a number of seasons now. There's probably a number of players here that we reckon that should have gone a long time ago. We keep them alive and they're gone. But it appears over the, obviously since the end of the season, things are changing. We've had Yaphet Tanganga gone. Who else is gone?
Eric Dyer.
Oh, he definitely
Sessegnon.
gone.
Sessegnon.
Perisic gone. Although we've known about him for a while. But in terms of the new stuff now, one of the biggest questions was going to be: are they going to let go of someone like Tanguy Ndombele, who's not going to benefit us because he's not going to play for this club again, but is also going to be a detriment to us if you're paying him 200 grand a week. Even if you offload him to somebody else, they're not going to pay 200 grand a week in terms of a loan aspect of it. So regardless, we were going to be paying some money. But now they've come to some arrangement. Now, it doesn't say what that arrangement is, and I don't expect us to know the details. But I'm going to ask all of you, how do you feel, starting with you, Sid, about Tanguy Ndombele's imminent departure and the process that Spurs have gone through to get him out of the club?
Listen, this should have been done last season before. They should have got rid of him, took a hit on him. Literally, whatever they could have taken. If it meant getting rid of him for free, they should have got rid of him. But as always with Spurs, we just tend to diver and just let players just on our payroll, keep paying them stupid money and not get rid of him. Yes, we got rid of him. It's still not done until he's actually walking out that door and the door shuts behind him and he's gone is when I'll believe it, yeah? All the rumours, all the things, it's all saying he's done and dusted, but until it's concrete evidence that he's gone, thank God he's gone. But
I want to see, Sid, sorry to interrupt you, I want to see his Uber receipts to the airport. Then I want to see his Jet2 invoice to show that he's flying off wherever he's gone to, because it's probably going to be a Jet2 flight somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, he was a good player initially before we bought him, and then I don't know what went wrong, and then he went down, and he went down, and he went down, and he went down, and then Burger Boy came into it. McDonald's offered him a contract instead of Ronald McDonald, and the rest is history. Somebody texted me yesterday, a Liverpool fan, saying, what is your team all about? He said, your club is a joke. He said, he's now gone and won 2 titles. I went, yeah, go and see actually how many minutes he's played in them 2 title winning sides. Yeah. I said, fair play to him if he's won it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Fair play. But it's something that should have been done long time ago. And I'm surprised. I am absolutely amazed that Daniel Levy is actually decided to pay him off a year's wages or whatever it was left on it to get rid of him. And it could be now the beginning of a new era under Postecoglou, because Postecoglou's probably turned around and said, I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't want him. You've still got him in my squad. You've still got him on the payroll. You're not going to give me any more money to go and buy any players. get them gone. And fair play, because I'm sure Angie's got something to do with behind the scenes. So, like you mentioned, the players, Tangangas, the Sessignons, and Dombeles, it's about bloody time.
It's about bloody time in well. It's about bloody time. Now, my personal view is I'm not quite sure they're paying him his full contract off. It's a lot of money, and I think they've come to some sort of negotiation because it's his last year. And I think the player himself will know that he's going to make a bit of a bonus anyway. So you'll get paid off from us. He'll probably go and get another club in the summertime. And not to say he's going to be close to 200 grand. I'm not sure anybody's going to be paying that sort of money for him. But he'll be making a decent wage because players who've got lesser footballing ability, talent, are getting paid money. So I don't suspect that he won't be bad off. Let's put it that way. I think he'll do all right. He won't be what's the word? He won't be going to the what's the things that they call when you're taking the stuff in the supermarket and they put it in those little things and you have to take the food out. Oh, I've forgotten what they're called. No, you know when they just leave some food in there and you're like, so people just buying and leaving for people who are not so well off.
He won't be going to the food bank.
The food bank. That's what I was. You see, them words didn't cut.
Dear, oh dear.
Sorry,
I was enjoying the struggle there. I was enjoying
the struggle.
The struggle was real. The struggle was real.
That was
do
entertaining.
not go and give us a clue, because I'm telling you now, you're not going to be any good at it.
I was going to be terrible at it on that version. Food bank. Yes, he's not going to be dipping into any food banks sooner rather than later. Sean, how do you feel about it all?
Tanguy Ndombele, the man who saw Uber Eat as a challenge. I'm going to eat as much as I can, and I'm going to eat from Uber Eat. I mean, what a incredible waste of money. Now, Sid says we should have done it last year. We would have had to pay the brother £20 million to get rid of him last year. 20 million pounds. I mean, there's some talk that he's not getting his year's wages, which is another 10 million this year.
Yep.
But I'm sure he's getting a significant amount of that money.
Yep.
I'm sure so I don't think I think I support the decision, and again, until it's on www.tottenhamhotspur.com.
Exactly.
It's not a done deal as far as I'm concerned, but all the rumours are.
They've come to an agreement. They've come to an agreement, have they not? So the players, obviously,
yeah, but until it's on official social channels, exactly. I'm not going there, Sam, because
it's been rinsed and repeated, hasn't it, Sean?
Yeah, we know what this club is like, but unbelievable. I mean, the thing is, the amount, the fault for this lies with the recruitment in 2019. I commend Ali Gold's article on the 2019 transfer window. It's absolutely mind-boggling what went wrong there. But the indications were, as a youth team player, he was trouble. And we still went ahead with this deal because we'd messed up on other deals. And, he's played 67 games for us. 63 games for us. And
in all competitions.
In all competitions. And just because he's won the title, his contribution to Napoli's title was minimal. His contribution to Galatasaray's title was nothing almost. I saw the pic.
They tried to get rid of him.
Even he looked embarrassed when he was wearing that medal at the end of the season because he'd done nothing for that club. And as Sam has said, he'll go away, big wedge in his back pocket. Someone will pay a signing-on fee, which might make up the difference between 5 million, 10 million, whatever we're paying him, and he'll get a job, but he's never going to get 200 grand a week. Never, ever in a month of Sundays. He doesn't deserve it. He's not shown the commitment that I want from a player that signs for Tottenham Hotspur. I'd rather have 10 Ollie Skips than one Tanguy Ndombele. It's just a nonsense that we've let this guy hold us to ransom.
So,
and I'll never forgive him for that. When he was that cup match, when he was substituted, and he
Yeah.
walked off like it was nothing.
There
We
are
were
things.
losing to Rotherham.
There are things that the player did that, obviously alienated so many fans. What I will say is, it wasn't his fault that we signed him up for 200 grand. It wasn't his fault that he played really good against Manchester City in that Champions League and we decided, oh, that's the player that we want, because that's basically what it was. It was that Champions League performance or performances that I think kind of sealed it. Right, we want that player. We didn't do enough due diligence. As you said, there was a lot of stuff, if you look back in what he'd done previously, where he'd come from, what he'd done to get to where he was, blah, 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 blah. There were so many things that you'd thought, a little bit of red flags here. But as Spurs do, we kind of jump onto that bandwagon. You are right. Sometimes you have to take a bit of a risk in players. And of course, it doesn't always work out. But we've got so much history of making them wrong decisions that I thought that one, to put him on to be the highest paid player and make sure that, Harry Kane had to say, well, look, if he's going to be that, I'm going to need to be this. Son had to come, if he's going to be that, then I need to be this. So we had that sort of situation where we had players on that money. Son and Kane, we can't complain about them two earning that. But Tanguy and Ndombele coming into the club, not having proved anything really.
And he was what, 22, 21, 22?
I don't even know. I don't know how old he was, but I do know that he was exciting to see in the on YouTube clips, which a lot of players do. And then watching him in that Manchester City game in spurts, there was a lot. But if you watch the whole game, and I've seen parts of that where people have kind of shown, he does his normal stuff. He walks around. You have to build things around him. And he has to be the player, the main man. He wanted to be the main player at Spurs. But his attitude was never going to be that of the main man. We had main men there. So I didn't know why we actually got this player. There were some bright spots. The goal against, was it Sheffield United? Back when he did that.
Where he chipped him.
There was some flashes of brilliance. And I was even saying, this player's better than Thomas Partey. Even Thomas Partey in his bad days now is not as bad as him. And that's truthful. Darius, what's your thoughts on the whole saga of Ndombele should be now?
About the player, I think the best word to describe is probably indifferent. I was excited beyond belief when we signed him, just because of his talent. But he's just, for me, genuinely might be one of our, if not our worst transfer of all time. If you look at the prices, I don't know if Richarlison does. I think Richarlison is our record transfer now, but again, was a record transfer at the time. Given the situation we were in, just coming off of a Champions League final, you needed a player. If you were going to spend that money on a player, you needed somebody to really, take the role of Moussa Dembele and fill that gap that he left us. And for me, like you said, Sam, like you said, Sean, we just did not do any research on the actual player. It really does look like we went on YouTube, searched Brazil Scout, searched AS Comps, and searched Tanguy and Ndombele best moments, and was mesmerised. And then when you see it against Man City, oh, well, he did it against Man City, he could do it against every other Premier League team. That's to me how it felt like we signed him. And regardless of the amount and limitless ability that he looked like he had, even in the Lyon game versus Man City, he was walking back. And you can't do that against Man City. You're going to leave a lot of gaps. And for me, it's the worst signing because it set us back 5 years. We're still damaged from the signing that we made 5 years ago in Tanguy and Ndombele. And that's why, for me, it hurts so much, because had we been a little bit smarter with that money and spent the money where we needed to spend it, we might not, be challenging for the league, but I'm pretty sure we would be in a better situation than we are now. And again, to pay him off, when you look at the positives of it, to me it shows, and I'm looking at this new season, this summer, as a clean slate, sort of a new start, because the recruitment is going to be completely different, in my opinion, in terms of how we're going to find players, and also in terms of the players that we've got rid of this summer already. Seems to me that we're preparing to bring in personnel. Now, I may be thinking positively, but I've not seen Spurs really get rid of that many players. I know players had contracts running out, but I've not really seen Spurs shift that many players that early. That, to me, is an indication that we're either going to do business early, whether that's good or bad business. I still think early business is good. And I think we will probably get a few players in now. With the hope and the players and the names that I'm seeing us be knocked around with, if we can secure a few of those players, yes, we'll be in a better position. But I still believe that we need to get, and I don't necessarily think we need to. Well, we don't need to spend the money, but to get that sort of elite player, you do have to spend the money. So I think we need to still spend significant amount of money on a striker that's going to elevate us to that next level. And if not a striker, a defensive midfielder, those two positions need to have significant amounts of funds spent on them for us to actually see a significant change. So, yeah, looking back at the Ndombele signing, it was probably the worst signing ever. And it's now led to this in the future where we're having to pay him money to leave the club in order to then now bring in players that are going to, perform. Any player is going to perform better than him. That's what's crazy. It's not even like he provided anything. He provided 63 appearances. And in those appearances, he provided flashes of brilliance. He didn't even maybe provide a 9 or 10 out of 10 game apart from the odd one. So, yeah, in terms of everything, in the moment when it happened, and now 5 years later, he's ran down his 5-year contract. And we never thought we would hear that. And everything that encapsulates that signing was bad for me. We're still feeling it today. That's the worst thing about it for me. We're still feeling the damage of it done today.
I kind of agree with this comment here. Thinking it's probably meant to say our recruitment is shit. It's going to be. It was shit. Let's say it's going to improve now. Hopefully, going forward, time will tell. I'm saying hopefully because obviously I'm still reeling from Timo, but that's just me. I might be proven wrong, and I'm hoping I do get proven wrong. I don't think in this situation I will be. But there's lots of rumours getting around about who we might be looking at, blah, blah, blah. Can someone pronounce that name? Gyökeres would be a bold signing for me, but we'll never see the under the bald one. We'll never see that under
the ex-Coventry player. Yeah.
Dear.
Very, very good player, though. And the Championship is proven to have a lot of talent in there.
It does, but
Adam
Arsenal
Wharton,
are not going into the
Eze,
Championship
Elise.
to get someone like a Declan Rice. And I'm just going that because I'm looking at the gossip.
No, to be fair, he is at Sporting Lisbon. So
okay, fairs. I don't know much about the player, so I'm probably
he's had 51 goal involvements this season.
Well, I'm talking from no knowledge at all. But I wanted to just have a look at what's going on. Oh, here we go. What's going on? I can't even share this now. Yes, I can. There we go. Football gossip from BBC. This is one that's interested me. Chelsea agreed terms with Palace Elise. Gossip, but it could be something that's not going to be good for us. Chelsea have agreed personal terms with Crystal Palace's Michael Elise. Brighton are set to announce Fabian Herzler as their new manager. Fulham reject Bayern Munich's valuation of João Paulinho. So again, that's a bloody well. This bit here, a player that I think we've been linked to. Does that mean then, if Elise does agree terms with Chelsea, you think he's off? Do we think he's off to Chelsea?
I think
it's more damaging if he goes because I don't think we'll get Eze then. I don't even think Elise would be close to signing for us. That's what I'm looking at now. If Elise goes, then they're not going to get rid of both of them in the same summer.
I would be very, very surprised, and that's what I wanted to bring and draw your attention to. That. Go on, George.
I'm not so sure because I think Glasner has already started the recruitment. I think Kamada is being linked, and
he's signed already.
Yeah, there's another player.
If you look at that as well, if you look at that headline, then in terms of Sunni gossip again, Sid, Manchester United and Tottenham are set to battle out for Crystal Palace and England winger Eberechi. I think that's how you say it. Eze, 25-year-old.
But hold on a second, man. All right, Man United won a cup, but they are in a mess. Would you come to Spurs or Man United? I think.
Lots of players have gone to Man United in situations. Lots of players go to Chelsea. It's money at the end of the day.
Man United haven't decided on their coach.
I don't think that matters, to be honest. For Manchester United, I don't think it matters. And the reason I say that is because Man United are Man United, regardless of what we think about their basket caseness. And Chelsea in that same sort of boat, they do have a pull because Chelsea are doing all this business now. We ain't got a clue what's going to be happening to Chelsea. They have got a new manager, but they had a new manager last season. There's a lot of turmoil, ups and downs, FFP, whatever you want to say. There's enough fires that both those two might have to put out. But just just going back to that point, Sid, on that, do you think that then it is just a case of one of them players is leaving and not both, or if any of them are leaving?
I heard at end of the last season that Crystal Palace, obviously they've bought in that what's his name? They bought in again. I forgot his name.
Crystal Palace.
Kamada, yeah, they bought him in, right? So that's one of the contingency plan, and that's I heard that they're looking at selling both Eze and Elise, and they've already got one replacement in. If they're going to get 50-60 million pound each for both of them players, it would be stupid not to get rid of them, because next season, who knows, they might both have stinkers and not be worth the money that they are. Not that we're saying they are going to be, but at least going to Chelsea, I think it's a mad decision, because how many players have they got, and is he going to get a start? This new manager that's coming in is, it's bizarre, because they've got so many players in there. Does that mean then if he's going there, then Gallagher, because apparently we're hell bent on getting Gallagher for whatever reason.
Oh God.
Yeah, and apparently how true it is, but Ange really wants him. So is it paper talk, or is it actually, does he want him? 50 million. So they're probably thinking, you know what, if we can get rid of Gallagher to Spurs, then at least, again, I don't know, but I think he's making a mistake if he's going Chelsea, to be fair. And I think he'll be one of them after a season, halfway through the season, he'll be like, why the hell did he go there? He's going to be a small play in a big pond at Chelsea.
I disagree, I disagree. I think it'll be similar to the Cole Palmer thing, because I think a lot of people said the same thing about Cole Palmer, and he took that team and made it his own. And not to say that Chelsea don't have a lot of, you're 100% right in what you're saying, Sid, in terms of the players and the competition, but I think Elise walks into that team and starts. Madueke is doing well. He's had a good end to the season, but like, there's levels to this. Elise, when he started and when he played, when he was fit, is one of the best right wingers in the league. So that's all I'll say to that. I think if we're looking at any other player, even Eze, I think Eze, I hear you, but I think Elise, there's something special about Elise. I really do believe, and I think he would have the same impact, that not maybe the same in terms of goal contributions, but he would get into that team as Cole Palmer did, and I don't think he would leave unless he got injured.
I don't know, I don't know, to be fair. I mean, I don't know how they're bloody buying all these players, because apparently it's like, what's the point saying here? They're linked to Osimhen as well, so
they're going to sell, aren't they?
They're going to have to sell. They're going to have to sell, because you can't have that many players in a squad and all of them be happy. And they're in the conference, right? Am I right? Next season?
Yeah, Chelsea are.
Yeah. So there you go. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But in going back to United and Eze, I agree with you, Sam. Man United is Man United at the end of the day. It doesn't matter who's in charge, whether they're in disarray or not. They've won a trophy twice in 2 seasons now, and they've been disastrous. So Man United is still a big club, and players will go to Man United regardless of who the manager is. It's the status of the club. So if it's a clear run between Spurs and Man United, then remember Van Bissaka went to Man United from Palace as well. So it depends on what he says to Eze as well. But Eze being a London boy, and I don't know how true it is, but they're saying that we've already agreed terms and this, that, the other. It's just a fee. If that's the case, then we're fucked, because Daniel Levy's probably offered £2.50 and a bag of peanuts. You know what I mean? So listen, I'm not going to say.
Let me just, before we finish off on Elise Eze stroke, if he does want to stay, in London, and both of these guys are Londoners from what I understand, so they both would possibly want to do that. Just knowing the type of footballers potential, unless they're going to be going to obviously to Real Madrid and stuff like that. Chelsea and Arsenal are the only real 2 destinations that I would say, from a London club perspective, and us obviously, that them 2 players would look at. Now, if you really want to balance stuff up, well, Chelsea pay the money. Chelsea just got a new manager in. They're going to be doing they've got a whole load of youngsters in there. You could look at their potential. You could say what Poch had kind of done post back end of last season, that there was something there to work with these players. A lot of players could look at that and say, well, new manager in there. They're looking like they're doing more, getting rid of certain players. Exciting new project. Let me go there. I'm on a 10-year deal. worth X amount of money, because if they're still doing them silly deals and lifetime deals, which they're doing, then players will, because at the end of the day, that guarantees a player money. It doesn't guarantee them being at that club for that length of time. And a lot of players we know can angle to get moves out. So I don't think anybody going to Chelsea really thinks they're going to be there if they've signed an 8-year contract, that they're going to be there for 8 years, particularly at the age of some of these players. But it does make me think that these two, particularly the Elise type of thing, as Sean's mentioned, why would you go to Chelsea now? Why would you go there, knowing what we know about how they finished in the last few seasons?
It's a better prospect than United.
And Spurs.
And Spurs. I don't think he comes to Spurs. Not to say that I'm not saying that Spurs. For me, I would say Eze is the perfect player for Spurs to target. Elise, I do think, is a level above. And I also think that when you look at who we've just signed Brennan Johnson. We've got the likes of Kulusevski as well. Not to say he wouldn't start ahead of those players, but I don't see somebody locking down that right wing position for Chelsea. And
is that where Eze's strength is in the right?
I'm talking about Elise here. Eze for me can play off the left or through the middle, depending. I think if we're going to sign Eze, we're playing him off the left. To me, that makes the most sense. So I would say there's a easy contingency plan there. Son's playing off the left now. He's 30 odd years old. He started up front. There's an easy way for Eze to get guaranteed minutes all throughout the season. Elise, I think it's different for us. He's a traditional right winger who cuts off his left. And bags goals. He bags goals and assists. For me, Chelsea haven't got a right winger. United, I mean, you got Sancho. It's cursed, that right winger spot. Sancho, Anthony. So I'm not going United if I'm a right winger. So I see the Chelsea move makes so much more sense for Elise, and then the Tottenham move makes so much more sense for Eze, because if you look at Arsenal, they've got Martinelli on that left side, and if you look at Chelsea, they've got, the likes of Mudryk, and they could play Sterling if they wanted to. So again, if you just look at the contingency plan, now I think about it, I'd said that they wouldn't sell both, but now I see there's an easy plan for Elise to play for Chelsea, and there's an easy plan for Eze to play for Tottenham. That's how I see it happening. And with Kamada coming in, then yeah, it does seem like that's going to happen. But then again, is Eze a good left winger?
Let me add this and then we can continue this discussion. If you was the Crystal Palace manager right at this second, would you want to lose those two players at the beginning of this season, or because I think they're going to drag out these unless they get them done straight away that they can then plan? Do you think that if they lost both of those players, that the manager he could never in any way be happy? They're the two of the best players by far in that team. By far, they are the two best players. So it's like us losing in the same season Harry Kane. I lost Harry Kane last year and managed to deal with it. But had we lost Son and Harry Kane in the same season, regardless of whether we got the money in to buy or whoever we wanted to buy, you can't just go out and buy who you want unless you throw money at it. And now Crystal Palace are going to get in, let's say, 60 million for Eze, maybe possibly more or less for Elise. Let's say combine 120, at least 100 million for both of them players. You've got to convince players to come to Crystal Palace. So you might have 100 million, but you ain't going to be able to just say, oh, okay, Mbappe, you know what? You signed for Real Madrid, you could have signed for us. That ain't going to work. Football don't work like that with them. With those type of teams, no disrespect to Crystal Palace, but they can't just get anybody they want. So they're going to have to be smart in the market. And if they're smart in the market, that could be a really good thing. But if they're not smart and it doesn't quite work out for them, they could be in trouble next season. And there's a new manager. That's a lot of pressure. That's just my thoughts about both of those two players.
I think they've got a good manager. I think he knows players. He knows if he needs to go and get them, because Kamada one, I don't think anyone expected him to go there, and he's pulled it off. So that's one replacement in for either Eze or Elise. I'm sure they're working on it. They know they're not stupid, pair of the chairman and the manager. They probably know that people are going to come in for Eze and Elise. So they've got a contingency plan. They've got players already in. Kamada's being the number one. He's in now. I think they've already decided and they're already looking. And I think in Glasner they trust. And I think players will go to Palace, depending. Obviously not the high caliber of players, but I think they will get players. But as Sean says, as you've said all before, I've not even been following transfer rumours, because it's going to be rinse and repeat. Everyone once somebody on social media picks it up and then everybody else just repeats and rinses that rumor until it gets absolutely worn out. I'm just going to wait till the transfer window opens and closes because it's Tottenham. We're going to be linked with everyone and we're going to end up getting no one. So I'm not even, to be fair, I'm not even interested until it happens. And it's like what's the point FC said, it's going to be a shit show again, probably.
Well, I was just going to add to that, Sid.
Hold on a second. I need to get.
Let me just. I'm going to let you because I want you to respond. Let me just read this comment out, and then because I want to get another perspective from it because I do believe there's definitely two perspectives. We're not all shit in the transfer market, but we haven't proved ourselves recently. I'm not even interested. What's the point of FC? I'm not even interested in our transfer window now. I know what will happen, so I don't even bother listening to Levy's bought and paid for media stool pigeons. Sean.
I have to say, I worry about the mental health of What's the Point FC, judging by his comments in the thing, because even his name, What's the Point? It's like sounds like do you know the number for Samaritans? It's 116 116 because I don't understand. Have we not recruited well in the last while? Van der Ven, Udogi, Romero. Are these not good players? Are they suddenly everything's shit? I think people have an agenda. They have an agenda, and they just want the ownership gone. Just be honest. Say you want the ownership gone, but don't slag off the players that we've recruited recently.
I'm not slagging off the players. I'm just saying.
No. But there are these. I'm not saying you, Sid. They're like saying it's going to be a shit show. Well, tell me Van der Ven was a shit show. Tell me Van der Ven is a shit show, and I'll say you're not a Spurs fan. You're not a Spurs fan. You're just a moaning mini, an entitled little social media. Haven't even done the hard yards of watching a team get relegated like I've done. It's amazing how people just want to have all their vitriol at the owner. The recruitment is in the hands of a completely different organisation now. And I think our recruitment has improved. And it has improved. We're not talking about another Tanguy and Ndombele under the previous regime. Yes, you can have a go at Levy for that. But in recent times, I just think, people need to, wind their necks in and actually just go out and touch the grass and go and stand out in the sunshine. They're obviously lacking a lot of vitamin D because they're indoors typing away, trying, just having vitriol at the owners. What's the point?
So what I will say to you is we've all got opinions. We just don't want it to get personal. And obviously we have to get people off the situations if that happens. We all, as I said, opinionated both in the comments and on the stream. But if we could please just refrain from personal comments now. We don't need to have to ban anybody. Anyway, David Clark. Palace has said they have a list of 3 players, one of which they will sell. So if PRTv and Levy don't pay the money required to get Eze and Chelsea come for Lise, then we are buggered. I tend to agree with that comment. I don't think they can. If I was their manager, you sell your 2 best players in a team, regardless of how well you think you've done towards the end of last season. Crystal Palace are not going to be a top 4, top 6, potentially top 8 if they kept their best players with recruitment, but they won't be top 8 if they get rid of Elise and Eze in the same season. I can almost guarantee you that, unless they're going to get in of the same ilk quality that are guaranteed to play like they are, and you can't guarantee that when you get players in. Yes, they can both get injured. Yes, they can both, as we see with Elise, get an injury that keeps them out for months on end. But you've already got the player. You haven't spent significantly that amount of money to get those players in. If you can keep them, you can do well. But they are valuable assets to the club. But only one of them, I think, will go this summer, in my opinion, and they'll get the most of whichever one they can get. What does that mean for us? If Elise goes to Chelsea, I don't think we're getting Eze, in my personal opinion. And then I was going to also add to this, regarding Eze, would it not be a consideration if someone like Manchester City came with? Now, I know they've got Grealish and Doku on that side, but there's a potential that they don't think that those 2 players are of the quality, say the quality because they're high quality players, but going forward that they're exactly what Manchester City need. Now, there is that rumour regarding Grealish, regarding Doku. Do you think Manchester City could come in and start upsetting the party for these sort of players as well?
I don't think so. I think Doku will stay. Grealish is one maybe they might look at, but again, depend 100 million on Grealish. What are they going to be expecting to get? There's no way they're going to take 30 million, 40 million for him. No chance. They want to recuperate something for Jack Grealish. I don't think City would come in for Eze. I think City probably have other players, maybe, if they are gonna, but I don't think City are gonna look into it unless they just come in to piss off all the other teams and say, right, you know what, we want him, we'll get him, kind of thing. But then it's all down to Eze as well, because he's played well towards the end of last season, whole season. He's now got into the Euros. If he has a good Euro, do you then want to go to a team where you might be a bit part player, or do you want to go to a team where you're gonna guarantee to start, or do you stay at Palace where you're the main man? It's going to be a massive Euros and summer for Eze in terms of what he wants to do. And if he's got his head screwed on and he's got people around him that are helping him, then he'll make the right decision. That's what I think anyway.
Okay, so in general, then both of you, are you hopeful of Eze or not so hopeful of Eze, Sean?
Yeah, I'm hopeful Eze gets done. It's not going to be cheap, because not only is there the 60 million fee, but there's also an 8 million other package. I think that I think Palace owe to him, so we'll need to probably cover that as well. So you're talking northwards of sort of 70 million. So it's not but I think interesting that you talk about City there. I think City are probably looking for someone. I don't think they've ever really replaced Mahrez on the right. And I think that's where Elise fits them. Now, they did seem to have all their eggs in the Paquetá basket, but of course, now with the impending charges hanging over him for gambling, it might, they might have to, steer it another way.
What's one other charge to Man City? That's just another charge, innit? It don't really matter.
No, but the difference is though, you can't spend money on a player and he can't play. I mean, look at Tonali. I mean, it absolutely, absolutely screwed Newcastle. But but it's I think Elise is more a Man City prospect than a Chelsea prospect, just because Chelsea have agreed fees. They've got, allegedly they've got a lot of issues that they need to get sorted by the end of the month. So agreeing the deal with the player is just the first stage. Until the chairman or the transfer people butt heads, then we'll never know. There's three people involved in a transfer, as we know, and the terms and conditions are possibly the easiest thing to do, but it's the transfer fee and how it's the stage of the payments and things like that, which is the more difficult thing to tie up.
Well, it looks like Sid's just got a call from
either
Johan Lang or Paratici or Daniel. What did they say? Are we on?
He said, don't you worry, child. Paratici's got a plan for you. No, I agree. I agree with Sean. I don't see why we can't go and get Eze. Postecoglou has been saying that he wants to challenge for the title next year. And if he wants to challenge for the title next year, he needs players to come in that will help his team challenge for the title. So Daniel Levy then has to back him. So why not? If he wants him, I can't see why we can't get him. Obviously, it's going to be down to the player as well, whether he wants to come to us. But I don't think it's out of our reach. But it's all up to Daniel Levy, obviously, because like we said before, Postecoglou's given a list of players that he wants. And all these rumours that I've read today and heard yesterday and today that there's 4 players on the horizon, apparently, that Paratici is dealing on. It could happen. But it's a waiting game, isn't it?
So how I see it, I look at it in a sense of if Crystal Palace have got a release clause on the player, that's a positive thing from them, because they know that they don't have to let him go for anything less than that release clause value. The player's unlikely to kick up a stink to move out the club, because it will benefit him to run his contract down further. He just doesn't have to sign a new contract. Being 25, I don't know how long his contract is for, but potentially the player does have a lot of power in the sense. And so does the club. They've both got a lot of power in it. So, but what I don't think we want to do or get into is a bidding war. So if we were to put in that 60 million, let's say that is a transfer release cost,
2027, Sam, is his contract.
2027.
Yeah.
Oh, 3 years. Well, so yeah, he's kind of 25. He'll be 28 by then. So yeah, he'd probably want to be pushing for something next season if he doesn't get his move this year, I would imagine. But anyway, going back to the release clause aspect of it, I don't think Spurs want to get into a bidding war. So we put in a £60 million bid, and let's say Manchester United or Chelsea or whoever it is are interested in that and they have money, they're likely to put in a bid. And if it's a club like Man United, you think that they maybe want possibly outbid us. I don't know. I'm just saying this from previous experience. And I don't think that's what Spurs want. However, go on. I was going to say something.
In terms of Elise, Sam, he signed a 4-year contract in August and on 100 grand a week, which includes a release clause that comes into effect in the summer. But the size of the release clause is unknown. Yeah,
with both those situations. And a lot of the times you do have gentleman's agreement. I'm sure we had a gentleman's agreement with Harry Kane with regards to what happens if he signs his contract and what we were going to allow him to do. And a lot of these players do have them. Sometimes they're actually written into the contracts, which you've just said about Elise's deal. He can have, people coming for him, but there has to be a certain value. Now, again, Chelsea, Crystal Palace are really in a strong position. They don't have to sell it either of these two players if they're contracted for that length of time. But then you've got to try and balance that with keeping the players happy. But I'm looking at what they were doing at the back end of last season with Glasner. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't be too concerned about staying there another season. Play well, you're going to get yourself another move next season or potentially in January, but definitely by next summer. So again, those players, they don't necessarily have to really push for anything this year. It's down to the buying club. So if we want to get him, we have to do what we need to do to get him out. And if a player like Eze says he wants to stay in London, you go for him, pay him the wage. You're going to be paying him more than what Crystal Palace are paying him now. Deal with it.
Sam, this comment from David is spot on, I think.
David Clark saying the cost is there for everyone to see. You either pay the fee required or don't give out this BS news that they are serious about Eze not being our number one target. Because to me, it's all hot air. And yeah, you could look at it in that sense, Dave, but you could also look at it from the perspective that we know how Spurs deal with and how they've done previously, not so much in recent times, but they kind of use the media to kind of gauge things. They gauge our perspective from it. They gauge other teams' perspective. They might even throw out some curveballs so other people bite on it and other stuff like that. If they want this player and they're serious about this player, I do agree with you. You should put the bid in, regardless of who else comes for you or comes in for him, because the player stated, if we're believing all the media, he wants to stay in London. So who else is going to come in for him that's going to be able to make him change his mind? Arsenal? Do they want a player like him? Don't think so at this moment in time. Fulham? West Ham? Not likely. I don't believe so.
Oh, listen, don't underestimate West Ham. Kudos, Bowen. Yeah, don't underestimate West Ham because they can pull off some deals, mate. I tell you that now.
True, they could, but I don't think they would. But we're both. I think we're all three of us are positive in the sense that if we're linked with, and as I said to you before, players like Eze are difference makers. Now, if you buy someone like Eze to play on the left, it makes me wonder even more so why we've got Timo Werner, but that's another story. If they want to, because I'm not buying this backup thing. I don't want to get into too much about Timo again, but I'm not buying the backup thing. You don't buy a backup player and pay him 180 grand a week, close to your top earnings. It doesn't, for Spurs, it doesn't work. We're not Manchester United. We can't afford to keep doing things like that. We've seen we can't afford to be playing players or buying players, even if it's for a year, that's £10 million, roughly, 10 million pounds. So yeah, we need to get this right. If Eze's a player, then Eze's a player, but it just makes me question certain things. Now, there was another player that media circus is going around. Lloyd Kelly. I don't know much about him. Anybody know much about this Lloyd Kelly?
Bournemouth centre back.
Is he any good?
Bournemouth.
Is he any good? I don't know.
He's British. He's a good. Is he British? Isn't he, Sean?
Yeah. He's English, left-footed, I think.
Yeah. Last summer.
Yeah, and I think he captained Bournemouth at some stage. Yeah. But I thought I read today that he was already going.
And you would be correct. Done. Newcastle United medical confirmed for Liverpool and Spurs transfer target, Mr. Lloyd Kelly.
Yeah. So the 2 free transfers that we were linked with last summer and potentially this summer in what's his name, Tosin and Lloyd Kelly. One's gone to Chelsea, one's gone to Newcastle. There you go. End of.
Kelly's agreed a 5-year deal at St James's Park and will become the club's first official summer signing. Kelly will undergo his medical this week with tests already booked. So it appears, according to transfer expert Fabrizio Romano, Kelly has already spoken to Newcastle head coach Eddie Howe, who previously signed a defender for Bournemouth back in 2019. If all that is true, and he has signed him previously, I think that's pretty much done and dusted. So forget about Lloyd Kelly, in my opinion. In my opinion, but I might be wrong on that one. Was he a player, Sean, that you was excited about? Should we have got excited about? Should we be disappointed that Newcastle have now got him, or potentially going to get him? You don't like that view? Like that one.
I'm indifferent to it all. I mean, I can see the personal relationship between Eddie Howe and Lloyd Kelly probably smoothed that over. But there are a number of centre backs who will be available. Some will have, some will be cost, and some will be free transfers. But I'm not, I mean, the more I read about the guy Ito in Germany, the more interesting he seems to be to me. But again, I'm not going to, as I say, I think there's the proviso until it appears on TottenhamHotspur.com. It's not really happening. I'm sure there are priorities. For me, the priorities are a number 6 and a number 9. But Ange has already got on record. He's on record saying he wants another centre back. He wants 4 centre backs to compete with the other team. So there probably will be a centre back coming in, but where that comes from, I don't know. And there are we've got our own issues to deal with as well. I mean, we talk about finding the money. We've also got to look at we've got a bit of an issue with homegrown and club trained, and that becomes an issue when you're in UEFA competitions as well. So
isn't that the case that we should?
Kelly didn't really doesn't move the dial for me. Let's put it that way.
It doesn't move the dial for me one bit for me. So I'm not bothered. I didn't even know he was really involved with trying to buy him. I heard his name, but weren't too concerned about looking too much information up. But saying that, if we are going to be looking to replace a number of these players, because a number of players have gone, and there's probably a few more that are likely to go before the summer, before the next season starts. So we are going to need to recruit. What's the situation with our youngsters? Because we've got this homegrown potential issue coming up looming, is that not an opportunity for us, particularly as we've got the Premier League 2 winners currently, with our players who are all very confident, looking towards potentially getting in an opportunity to get into the first team? Should we not be promoting 1 or 2 of these younger players in those positions if we're going to cover certain aspects and we want to spend the big money elsewhere? Because we can't spend big money everywhere.
I honestly believe next season, under Postecoglou, we'll see a hell of a lot of Dorrington, Donnelly and Mikey Moore. Whether that's first team squad or Europa League squads and match time, more in the Europa League and maybe cup games. I see them 3 players next season, I think, having a lot more game time than this season. Don't forget, we've also got Alfie Divan coming back, and also Matt Phillips, who was Plymouth's player of the season, I think. So
Ashley Phillips, sorry, not Matt Phillips. Ashley Phillips as well. But out of the 3, obviously, I think Donnelly, Dorrington and Mikey Moore, because Mikey Moore's already went to the he was going to go obviously to Australia, but because of England's under 17s, he didn't. I think he'll go Japan. And I think Postecoglou's heard a lot about them 3, and I think, like you said, 2 Premier League winners and whatever. I think next season, I think they'll get more game time than other players have under other managers in previous seasons. So I think them 3 are the players to look out for. Phillips and Divine, I don't know if they're going to go back out on loan again or not, or maybe even the other 3, one of them 2 might get out on loan. But I can see some of the youngsters getting some game time, maybe Europa League, maybe in the cup.
But then again, Postecoglou might be thinking, do you know what? I'm not going to do what I did last year against Fulham and take it for granted. I'm going to put strong teams out. So maybe more bench squad opportunities, 5 minutes here, 5-10 minutes there. But you never know. If they're doing really well, Postecoglou might just pull the trigger and say, do you know what, lads, get in, play.
Do you think we're going to be playing a number of youngsters or promoting some youngsters to the squad, Sean, based on the fact that we can't spend 200 million in this transfer window anyway? And unlikely to do that. But yeah, if we've got to fill a number of positions, number of players leaving the club, number of players being forced to leave the club, how are we going to, just basic numbers really, how are we going to address all that?
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, Postecoglou is well taken with Mikey Moore. Now, Mikey Moore can't go on loan because he's not 18. But as our friend here has said, Tyrese Hall is a player that Ange has got to like as well. And from what I saw him playing for the under-21s, I think he looks like a good player. But I do feel that we will see our youngsters go out and do adult football. I think it is it's part of the development. And I understand from the conversations that Simon Davis, who's the head of the academy, and Ange have had, Ange is not totally convinced about our young players. They've had a good season, but he's still not convinced that they're ready for adult football as yet. And I think you might see him going out. And quite interestingly, it's something that's dropped into my head is that the fact that Ange's number 2, Chris Davis, has left this week to go and take up the job at Birmingham, that to me is a potential place to send our young players, So, that may well work out for us because, he'll get well looked. They'll get well looked after. It's just a
good shot there, Sean. That's a great.
I think we will see some younger players because we're going to be, we're going to be playing more games. The new format of the Europa League, much like the Champions League, means there's more games, so there is a chance that we're going to see young players. But I don't think we shouldn't expect them to be immediate stars. And I do say this about Spurs fans. We're so critical about our own players. We do tend to get on their backs, and that's an historical thing. And it means that in order to make it at Tottenham, to come through the academy, you have to be exceptional. I mean, we're talking Harry Kane, exceptional. So, yeah.
So my point about the loan thing is, and there are obviously merits into what both of you said about the loan perspective. However, I do have a need to play devil's advocate on this one. In recent times, the players that have gone out on loan, who's come back from being on loan to then play for us? Recent times, Harry Kane. If anybody can, from Harry Kane's perspective, tell me any player that we sent out on loan who's then come back in to be a main first team stay, then we can have a discussion, because we've sent out a lot of players on loan, and we can look at the Spencers of the world, we could look at the Brian Gills of this world, we could look at, again, there's a number of players that we could reel off in terms of they've gone out. Troy Parrott, Scarlett, these players have gone out. I'm expecting them to play the football. Now, you've got to get the loan deals right. But from the player's perspective, if he's played well pre-season, which a number of these players did, and then gets told, right, you don't even get an opportunity at this club to play, we're going to send you out on loan. And then we're going to send you out on loan again 6 months later. Then we're going to send you out on loan for this. At some point, you're going to have a Troy Parrott on your hands. At some point, you're going to have a Brian Gill on your hands. At some point, you're going to think to yourself, are these players actually good enough? Can we not just give players an ability to show us? And the reason I'm saying that is I'm going to show this again here. These are the sort of things. Because this guy, Fabrizio Clickbait Romano, because I don't believe anything this geezer said, because you have to believe some of the stuff he said when it becomes official. But this is silly season, so he's going to do these sort of things.
He looks like a convict there.
He looks like a convict because he's doing convict type stuff. He's doing convict type stuff.
He's charging people £500 for 30 minutes time.
Seriously. To tell them shit that he can only tell Sky, so he won't tell you everything that he can tell Sky because he's got to deal with them. Anyway, my rant over with. Players who need to be leaving the club this summer. We can see the picture of Brian Hill and we can also see the picture of Alejo Valise. Now, again, Brian Gill, prime example, player with potential. Can he play for the Prem? We know that we've seen that he don't think he can play for the Prem, so we continue loaning this player out, knowing he's not going to play here, but then we'll send him off to Spain and he can do really well. Who else has done that we've done recently? The left back, what's his name? Sergio Reguilon. Was looking like he was doing all right, and then for some reason he's not flavour of the month. Goes out on loan, goes out on loan. What we do with this player? Is he coming back to Spurs? Is he now sold? Is he done? It's things like this which doesn't give me the historical evidence to suggest that sending players out on loan now is going to work. That's what I'm trying to look at. So the young players now, I'll be like, okay, well, I'm good enough to win a Premier League 2. I'm seeing the Kevin Mainoo's in the England squad now. I'm seeing these players get given opportunities. Newcastle, Aston Villa, all these teams which are in and around us. But there's not one that we can say, oh, right, we can even say, well, we don't want to see him play every single game, because I'm not saying that about any of the youngsters, but I wanted to see him at least get some game time. If the likes of this guy here and this guy here have been brought into the club and are not doing fuck all for us. That's all I don't. Plus, you've got to feel that the quota, the homegrown quota, we're not going to buy all these players in. How else can we address the situation? That's I'll ask the question out loud. If anybody in the comments and you guys as well, how are we going to address the situation if we can't use youngsters, because we're not going to spend the money that people think we're going to spend? I can't see it.
You know, it's like Sean said, and like you said, we it's been known for that for years for Spurs. We just don't seem to bring players in from the academy and the reserves and the 21s. Is it because the managers don't think they're good enough? Like Sean just said, Simon Davis and Postecoglou's been having conversations, and they're saying that they're not ready yet. But you see at Liverpool, you see at City, you see at Arsenal, even you've seen it other teams. They've thrown players in, yeah. And if they're doing well at their respective age group or whatever, then you have to give them a chance. That 15-year-old that Arsenal played in the cup or whenever, he's played a couple of times. City have done. Liverpool won the cup with half of the youngsters. It just seems to be Spurs that don't want to bring any of the youngsters and give them an opportunity. I don't know. Like Sean said, is it the fan base that they're scared of, that if they don't have a good game, they're going to get hammered? But you've got to risk these young players. If they're good enough, if they're doing well, like the Dorringtons, Donnellys and Mikey Moores have been doing, then when are you going to give them the opportunity? If not now, because now they're in probably playing some top football. Give them that chance. If it doesn't work out, then you know, okay, yeah, we'll give you the chance. It didn't work out. Maybe you need, like Sean said, that adult football. Go on loan. I mean, what's his name at Birmingham manager? He might take them on. There's other players, other clubs that might take some of the youngsters on. But again, you don't know. Valisi's gone on loan, and apparently he got used as the manager used him left, right, and centre by not playing him as a testament or something to prove something. I don't know. So then that wasted him. But in all honesty, I don't know. I mean,
in my opinion, sorry, Sid, in my opinion, if you're going to loan players out, you have to loan them out to Premier League clubs. Now, the reason I'm saying that is not because you should loan them out to teams that play like you, because if you loan them out to teams like you potentially that are not in the Premier League, they're going to be in Championship or League One. They don't play the same type of football. You can send them abroad. It's not the same type of football. The whole reason for sending out a player on loan is to get him ready to play Premier League football, which is our bread and butter. Yes, we're going to have cup games. And yes, we're going to have European competition. The whole reason is to play Premier League. We know that there's the difference in the Premier League from Championship to League One to League Two to various European leagues. So I don't understand when you send someone like Gil out to a Spanish team or send someone like Reguilon out to a Spanish team, knowing that one of their weaknesses might be the strength aspect of it, might be the pace of the game. It makes little to no sense. So that's my thought about some of these other players. Yes, you might get a great Championship club, and you might be playing for, like Skip was doing, playing for a Norwich that had the good style of football for him, but he's playing Championship football, which is alienated from playing Premier League football. It's different. Completely different.
Sorry, Sam. Yes, I agree, and also I disagree, because I'll give you one player that played in the Championship now, at that level in the Championship, and then he got his move. and he potentially is on the Ballon d'Or list. Yeah, maybe he's one of these freak, unique players. But Jude Bellingham came from the Championship, didn't he?
I think you said it with your last statement, your last sentence.
Yeah.
He is a phenomenal player. That
Yeah.
Birmingham City retired his shirt when he was 16.
Exactly.
Tell me what player we've got that's going to get their shirt retired. He's not the same level. But Jude Bellingham, we forget that. That's a generational talent that we don't think that we've got in our midst. But we won't know if we've got really good players mentality-wise, because all these players are talented. All these players in the academy are talented. All these players in our squad are talented. It's not talent that makes a difference to make it at a Premier League club, and particularly Spurs. It's mentality. Now, I don't know what these mentalities like, because yes, you want to see players that break if they're thrown in, then ultimately I would say they're no good to us. No, I don't want to see players break, but what I want to see is tested mentally, tested at the highest level. They're not always going to make that grade straight away. They are going to make mistakes. They are young players, but you know what? I could see when Man United played Kobe Minu, what was going to happen. You could see it, the way he comes across in his interviews, the way his mentality was. And he's not a generational talent like a Jude Bellingham. He's a really, really talented player, but he's got upstairs. He's got Gary Neville mentality, but probably, I wouldn't say Paul Scholes' ability, because he's probably not that level. But you know what I mean? If I'll give that sort of comparison, Gary Neville would never have made it as a footballer if it's just on his talent alone. He wouldn't. I know we're going back a little bit, but there's a number of players like that. So we've got to test their mentality. I can't see how testing their mentality by playing them at League One is going to do that. I don't see how, because we're going to come back and play Premier League football. So I think there are other things that need to be done if you're not going to play these players. We should also have a string of, right, the first team plays like that, the academy plays like that, the under-18s play like that, the under-16s. So there's a whole string of what they're supposed to do. If you just go and send a player out, yeah, again, I'll use the example, Norwich for Oliver Skip. Look, brilliant. You've not seen much of him since he's come back. There's got to be a reason for that. There has to be a reason. City's spot on. Davis Clark said, nobody knows how loan players will turn out, because seriously, when Kane was on loan at Leicester City, their fans were laughing at Kane, saying he was bloody useless, yet he becomes the best number 9 in the world. Facts. Chido Obi Martin, 16 years old, 6'4", plays for under-18s at Arsenal, scored 30 goals in 8 games and is refusing to sign as a scholar for them. Bayern are looking to sign him. This will happen to us too. Potentially, this could happen to us. I'm sure we've had who was it who went out? What's his name? He played for Sporting. He scored the goal again. Edwards. Yeah, Edwards. Donnelly is well good enough to be on the bench for Spurs first team, but the rest are not ready or are just not good enough for a team in the top 6 of Prem. That's what we won't.
Well, I mean, there's the issue, isn't it? We want progress. We want to appear and we want to be in the top 4. Are our young players going to get us into the top 4? And can we afford to drop points when you see that you need 90 plus points to be in with a chance of winning a title? No, it's a balance, and not everyone gets it right. And you know, I mean, I do like our young players. I think that, you know, they've got good habits. They've got good mentality. But you know,
surely
the difference between our fan base and the fan bases of Manchester United and Liverpool is that those fan bases support their young players. They don't get onto them. And I've seen it historically. Our fans, if our players aren't Messi, they won't give them the time. And I'm sorry. It is a mentality issue amongst our fan base. And I don't want to crucify these players, but I do want to see them given an opportunity. But you know, it's a dilemma, isn't it? We want to win trophies. We want to progress and get into the Champions League next year, or we want to, you know, it's does
Timo Werner at 180 grand do that when we could play a youngster there who doesn't cost that much? If he's a backup and we're looking to go Eze, this is why it doesn't make sense to me. That I'm going to go back to that.
Our equivalent at under 21 is Santiago. That Spanish guy. But he's not as good. He's not as good as Timo Werner. I'm sorry, he's just not as good as Timo Werner.
And I think, and I'm going to say what Sean said before and say Postecoglou has seen something in Werner to say, I want him to play on 180 grand a week. He doesn't make that 180 grand decision. It's whoever agents do it. But Ange has said, I want that player and I want him to play. So if Ange is saying that and seeing that, then we've got to trust Ange because he's seen something in Timo Werner to get him for another season. He could have just turned around in the summer and said, you know what? See you later, mate. I don't want you. But I truly believe he sees and sees something in Werner. Whether you like it, Sam, I like it, Sean likes it, the fans like it or not, you've got to trust your manager, and he's made that decision. We can go on and on and moan about it, but bottom line is, Ange sees something in there.
Okay, I'll just add this. With the youngsters, we haven't seen what they've been about. With a 28-year-old Timo Werner who's played in the Premiership twice now, you've seen what he's about. And 180,000. I'm only gonna spout these facts off because this is the point. At 180 grand a week, you are not telling me that he's just been bought for a backup. He's playing game time. I know.
He's not been bought though, Sam. He's not been bought.
Okay. He's not been
been loaned.
But he's gonna be here for a year. So whether or not we play him or we don't play him, he's still going to be here for a year. So whether or not that's maybe we've just cancelled off someone's contract and had to pay him £10 million. Let's say that he goes. We're paying this guy £10 million supposedly to be a squad player, but that's not squad player wages. If you're going to do that sort of thing, as I think Zyron's put in, we've got to get the most talented players with the mentality. The mentality side of things is what I don't know. The mentality side of Timo Werner, I do know. And I'm going to sit here in a few months' time and we're going to have these conversations about this player. Yeah. We're not going to have the player conversation that he's made a massive difference to Spurs and he's taken us to the next level. I am telling you now, that will never happen. It will never happen. Leipzig wouldn't be getting rid of a player for that reason. Chelsea wouldn't be ridiculing us for that reason. We've got proof. And he's 28, not 22 or 21. That's my only downside to this. Now, had we got Eze rumours and had we said, right, you know what, we're going to put our left-sided players, Santiago, Mikey Moore, Soonsop Bell, whoever you want to put on that left-hand side, and Donnelly, whoever you want to put on there, and say, that's our backup in case Eze gets injured, in case Son gets injured, and we have a problem. That's when I would say, yeah, I'm happy for that. I'm more than happy, but I know that that's not what's going to happen next season because we've already laid out that.
But Sam, like Sean said, under 21s, Simon Davies has probably told Postecoglou that player on the left I've got under 21s is not going to be good enough yet to get into your first team, Ange, right? Ange has looked at Werner, he's looked at his spell at Chelsea, he's looked at his spell at Leipzig, he's looked at his spell last season at Spurs. He's decided and acted on that to say, I want him for an extra year. If it backfires, there's only going to be one person to blame, and he's going to be held accountable, and he will have to take responsibility for that decisions, and he will have to come up and justify that then to the fans and yourself and to Sean and to me why he went for him and not for what you're saying, somebody on 30 grand, 40 grand, one of the youth players, one of the youngsters or somebody else. That's going to be on his back. And he's made that decision, so we've got to roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people under pressure next year, and she's under pressure. You know, I mean, particularly given the way that the season tailed off as it did. But I'm not going to get wound up by, you know, all I can judge is on his history, and his second season is better. He has a particular system. He likes players to fit that system, and he adjusts it as and when necessary. You know, don't give me. You know, I'm not having this plan A only and what have you. But I think we you know, I think the announcement of Werner has really it's fried our brains a bit, you know, and I feel that we can start judging from next Tuesday. Whenever the window opens,
I can judge him from now. I can judge him from what I've seen. It's not like a Donnelly or somebody who's not played for us, or we've not seen it close quarters. I've seen enough to know he's not talented enough for one thing. He's got talent. He's not talented enough for what we need to take us to the next level. And his mentality, 110% is not what we need at this club. Personally, it's a disastrous buy. It's a disastrous loan. However, I'm going to allow myself the what's the word? The time aspect to kind of say, okay, I'll let to see how this plays out, because we've got a lot of competitions to play. And I'm also going to let to see if any of these youngsters do get on the bench. Donnelly, he's good enough to be on the bench. Now, if we're getting rid of Brian Hills and we don't want Brian Hill to be involved, but yet we're saying Timo Werner, then again, I don't know what. It's a best of a bad bunch in that sense. So again,
are you going to tell me that Werner's worse than Gill?
I'm going to.
You think Werner's worse than
him?
Him?
He's not much better. He's not much better. My honest opinion, he's not much better. That's personal opinion.
Wow.
Yeah, but I can look. I can look at Gill and what he does when he goes up. Gill hasn't got the physicality to play in this league. He hasn't. Werner's got the pace to play in the league, but he hasn't got the mentality to play in this league. I don't know if Gill's got that mentality. He looks like he really wants to give it a go, but he gets pushed off the ball. I've seen what this guy done for Chelsea. I've seen what he's done at Leipzig over recent time. He's not elevating us to anywhere near the level of someone like Eze's. Now, if you told me, Eze, you're paying 180 grand a week for a loan for a year, I'm all on board with that, because I know what he's about. I've seen him in the Prem. I saw at close quarters what Timo Werner was doing at our team this season, at close effing quarters, having had the ridicule from Chelsea fans saying, what the fuck are you guys doing? You're going to get him twice a day, as a clock would be. A broken clock can be right twice a day. We're going to see this. We're going to see this play out. But as I'm going to now quit that thing, I'm going to allow the manager to make that decision and see what happens from it.
David's put on here as well, right? There's a lot of everyone's saying that 180 grand, 180 grand, 180 grand we're paying on him, right? What you got to remember is we're not paying a fee for him. If you want to go and get another player, you would have probably paid 30, 40 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, minimum 100 grand a week, minimum. Postecoglou's got a player who's played in the Prem. He's played for Leipzig on 180 grand a week without a fee. He's on loan. So in that sense, he's probably thinking, I'm saving a lot of money on trying to bring in a player who I don't know whether he's going to be any good in the Prem or not. So for that reason, he's taking a massive gamble.
So could I ask then, my question is, has Timo Werner, in his history of being in the Prem, been a good player?
He won the Champions League.
we can have this argument all day and every day until kingdom come. Postecoglou has seen something in him to say, I want him for another year on 180 grand a week. Yes. End of conversation. Yes. Now, whether that works out or it doesn't, it's down to him. And then you can have your show and say, I told you so.
I'm going to have two shows. I'm going to have two fucking shows. Don't you worry about that. I'm having two.
Yeah. I mean, he had 6
You know what? I'm looking forward to the Sam Humble Pie.
Yeah.
I really am looking forward to the Sam Humble Pie.
No. All right then. I'll say before we finish it, if he elevates us to make Champions League, him personally doing something like in a semi, because that's the only way you can really judge it. I'm not saying he's not going to have good games. Of course he will have good games. But if he plays the majority of games and over that season that we then elevate ourselves, I will eat the humble pie, no problem.
So,
but I know the fees is going to be full of humble pie that I ain't eating.
Harry Kane went to Bayern Munich because they wanted him single-handedly to win them the league, everything. What happened there?
How many goals did Harry Kane get? He did his job, man. What? He did his job. I can't say to Harry Kane, you went to Bayern Munich and you scored over 40 goals. You were shit.
Yeah, he was let down by the other 10 players.
He was let down by everybody else around him and the manager probably because he fucked up in that semi-final. Effed up big time. Listen, that's not an Harry Kane to be taken off with 10 minutes to go of a game that potentially. That's the manager.
I agree with you, but you know it's done. He's got him for another 12 months.
It's going to be done.
Move on.
Let's move on. Sorry. All right, we're moving on. Okay. We've got loads more to think. We can't do it all today. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on things so far. How you're feeling so far. Sean, how are you feeling so far Window's not open. I know we've talked about players, and I'm going to say this to the people watching. I have got a Timo agenda. I don't mind admitting it. I have a Timo agenda. So if you agree with me or not, that's fine. I'm not bothered. Yeah. But I have a Timo agenda.
To be honest, we've spoken mostly about Eze, and I have to say, if we don't get Eze, I will be disappointed. But I still say the priority are a striker to compete with Richarlison and a monster number 6, a Rodri style number 6, because I don't think Basuma's quite got that in him. And you know, what will be will be. I mean, the window opens on Monday, I think. Is it on Monday? Yeah. And we'll see. I'm more excited about next Tuesday because when the a week on Tuesday when the fixtures are announced, and that's more exciting to me because then I know where our games are going to be, and you know what will be. I can't wait for the pre-season to start, and Tottenham are back, and you know in the meantime I'll watch distractedly the internationals, and I'm not going to worry about Timo Werner. But you know, there's a whole list of things to be more concerned about than
we shouldn't have really got onto that. We will get on our next show. We'll do more of that. It was just a kind of, as we do, we'd have these conversations. They could go anywhere, and it did go somewhere. Dino, I think Timo ran over Sam's cat. He definitely did.
And then reverse back over it as well. Yeah.
Andreas is saying, Word has been a failure appeal. Check all the stats. Andrews is because he's Levy man. I can't prove that. I don't think any of us can. But we'll see what will be. If you look closely at Werner's best season in Germany, he's got a lot of excellent goals, but 90% of them were instinctive finishes where he had no time to think, but just struck the ball with power. It's the mentality side that I'm more concerned about. So we'll see about that. Werner's history means little to nothing in today's context. Under Andrew Spurs, he played 10 full games for us in 4 months. Can expect a great deal. You're going to play more than 10 games in 4 months. I guarantee you that. Unless he gets injured, of course.
His stats were he played 13 Premier League games and had 5 goal involvements, 2 goals and 3 assists. That's
the next comment.
Oh, that's not too bad a way to end, did it? Hey, what a breath of fresh air this channel is from the north.
Andres, very good.
That's true. We are a breath of fresh air because, like I said, it can go anywhere with these. It's a podcast
but
at the end of the day.
I must add to that, though, Andres. We're not polished yet, like a proper diamond yet. That best is yet to come.
We're not supposed to be polished, Sid. Yeah. You don't want to be. We don't want to be a Sky Sports. We don't want to be a Talk Sport. We want to be who we are because this is who we are. Nobody in life is a polished diamond all the time. We have roughs and we have smooth.
Rough. We're diamond.
Bit of rough, bit of smooth.
What Rihanna said.
I'm the smooth bit in this trio. I'm the smooth bit.
I'm just the old bit. I'm just a very, very old bit.
It's just like diamonds.
Too old.
Sky, like Rihanna said.
Yeah. Well, let's hope Angie's polishing us up from July the 1st, and
absolutely
we'll have a great season.
No, that's all good. Like I said, we always have these chats, people. I know sometimes things appear to go a little bit left and people get a bit edgy in comments. We don't really mean to be personal, so we don't want that back, blah, 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 all the rest of it. But thank you for watching. We appreciate that. We appreciate everybody that tunes in. All those that are commenting as well. Andreas, David, Clark, as always, Metro Football TV. You know, we wouldn't be able to do any of these streams without you guys. Zyron the Tester, as well as in there, Simon Cohen, blah, blah, blah. What's going on? Is there more comments coming?
David's comment.
He's Sean Connery, not Pussy Galore.
David.
David takes it to another level, does Mr. Clark. But yeah, we've got more to talk about in later shows. I guess let's see if we can do another one this week. There's loads of things happening. And the amount of stuff I see on the Spurs Media Watch every single day, this clickbait city. They want you to bloody click on
Spurs Media Watch. Where's that?
Oh, you ain't seen Spurs Media Watch? This is Spurs Media Watch. I'll show you.
Whilst we're on. Go on. It's the same people on social media rinsing and repeating.
Now, yeah.
Same people rinsing and repeating the information, recycling it. And these channels are the decent, so-called big channels, just wasting crap that's just people gossiping
Look.
about.
Look at the gossip in this 15 to 30
what I
minutes
mean.
old, 1 to 2 hours old, this is not even the whole day yet. So you can see how much gossip and click people want you to just, oh my God, Tottenham's doing it. Listen, Tottenham's more attractive options. The way they word stuff is, it's just like clickbait. It's clickbait city. West Ham ready for 13.5
exactly what
million
you're doing now.
Nude. I know, but I'm not clicking on it. That's the difference. I'm not clicking on it.
One thing I meant to say earlier, Sam, was compare us to Manchester. Comparing us to Manchester United and Chelsea, and the one thing that we do have is we have a stable coach. United still haven't confirmed whether Ten Hag is staying, and Maresca is a completely unknown. I mean, they've replaced Pochettino, who's got history in the Premier League, not least with us. And I mean, that is a big gamble. So if at least he's thinking of going to Chelsea, good luck, mate. Because you don't know.
Sam,
you don't.
Meta Football's got a question for you.
Oh, Meta, you put me on the spot here. Meta, like I said, I'm the smooth part of this rough and smooth trio here. So, you know what I mean?
He'll go on his channel. Go on his channel, Sam. Yeah.
It's not when you're. Hey, hello. It's not when you're on, Sam. It's asking when we're PRTv.
Oh, you said when you next on.
Wind them down. Wind it down, bro. You know what? You're special.
Talking about me personally. I thought he was talking about me personally. I thought if you're talking about us three, oh God. Well, maybe later this week. You can see it's fun in games. Let me put this comment up here. Where is it gone? Here we go. I don't know. Probably we might try and do something else later. Maybe Thursday. Let's see what we can do. Sam is the Morgan Freeman. God damn. Is that how old I'm looking these days? Shit. Morgan Freeman of the channel. I don't know how to feel about that.
Liar.
I don't know how to feel.
He's a great actor.
He's great, but he's about 205, isn't he? God, blimey. Sam is the Morgan Freeman of the channel.
I wasn't going to say that, but as soon as you said it, actually, then Sam, you're about 201.
He's actually younger. He's actually younger than me, Andres. I'm 63. So
Arsenal podcasts are having a fit because of they are being connected to Solanke.
Yeah. Honestly.
It's brilliant.
I was on Deji's channel. We spent quite a bit of time talking about Sesko to Solanke. Yeah,
I know.
Osimhen. Are they still trying to get Osimhen as well? Because Osimhen to Solanke is a bit of a drop off as well. It's jokes. Both our class acts. Enough fun and games, people. Thank you very much for watching PRTv Spurs. As we have announced already, Patson Road TV will be ceasing not to be alive, but ceasing to be promoting live channel or live feeds. We'll have obviously everything historical, and it will be PRTv Spurs from 1st of August. We'll be streaming on both channels up until that point. So make sure you go over to that channel, because we're not getting as much love on that channel because everybody still comes to Patson Road. And maybe you've seen us on Twitter, Twitch, and all the rest of it. Look out for us on all those media.
So shout it from the rooftops, shout it from everywhere. PRTv Spurs will be the place to be from the 1st of August.
I'm going to put in a request for a new sticker then.
Yes, I've got some stickers. I'll send you some. Don't worry.
There's some rebranding to be done as well.
Sean, don't you worry. Sid's got a plan for you. Don't worry.
Don't you worry about a thing. That's what it should be. Don't you worry about a thing. Team over. Don't you worry about a thing.
I really wish it was that simple when Tebow was involved.
Don't you worry about a thing.
But like I said, I think now I'm going to have to do that thing where you're going to say, right, no more about him. If he comes up, I don't know what you're talking about. That's what I'm going to do with Timo from now on, because it's not fair. My agenda should not be portrayed and put upon all of you people. But wait, the humble pie is in the freezer. They ain't coming out. Ain't fucking coming out.
Well, I hope you put it in the oven first.
Oh, it's been baked. I baked it already, but I'm not eating it. I'm definitely not eating it. No, me and Pipes is that's gonna say. Anyway, enough of that. Thank you very much. Patson Road TV, like, subscribe, comment in the comment section below. Whether it's live, whether it's not, you can get us social media, X. Guys, you want to tell people where you are? Sid, do you want to tell people where you are?
At Sid_Spurs, as always, and PRTv Spurs, where you will find me, Sam, Sean, Darius, every
What about your
week.
TikTok, fam? You got TikTok as well. You're the youth.
TikTok, yeah, at Sid_Spurs or Super Sid Reveals. I've changed it to Super Sid Reveals now. Yeah, so I'm trying to build up my people after the
And people go across to
50
Sid's
million
TikTok
video.
because he got something like 755 billion views for his what's it called? What was the guy?
Adam
Sandler. That was the one.
At Tottenham
255 billion views on Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler, who doesn't even support Spurs.
got a lot of TikTok views for that though. Yeah. So Sean, where can people find it?
Yeah, you can find me at Tottenham Tifosi 61. Me and Uncle Elon had a fallout, and he done away with my previous channel. I wonder what that could have been about. But anyway, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram as Shawnee Spurs 61, but mostly here. You'll see me here, or I might pop up on brother Deji's channel, Deji Spurs. So
yeah, there's a few people that we, the memories. Them Deji, Marlon in them early days. What great! You lot need to come back, Deji. You need to come back and make some.
Is that Marlon Spurs Kings?
Marlon, I don't know what his Twitter handle is, but I know obviously I know him as just Marlon. But anyway, you can find me on this. What's it? Is it this one? Here?
Yeah. Sam,
you can find me there at Instagram, on Instagram, should I say, on X and on YouTube. That's it. Desi's getting 100% love here. We'll be hunting down and following. Thank you. And last for comment here, big up Timo Werner. Big up Timo Werner. Come on, mate.
Timo's moving to Nottingham just to annoy you.
I'm going to put in a request now. I'm going to hunt Timo Werner's agent down, and I'm going to ask him to come on here just for Sam.
I'll knock him out.
Yeah.
I'll knock him out.
No,
I'm not about violence,
then,
people. I'm not about violence.
You know what, Sam? I'm
not
going to
about
tell him to
violence.
come on there, and I'm going to tell him to go, especially for you. I want to show you you mean all the world to me.
Imagine that.
Imagine
that. I did a podcast, a sit down with Timo Werner.
Can you imagine?
Me and him across the table.
Oh,
that would be brilliant. I love that.
Priceless.
I love that. Anyway, we're done. Right then, I'm going to go out with the other music because I like the other music to go out with on talking points. I was going to do the drum and bass, but I ain't feeling drum and bassy at the moment. I'm feeling more a little chilled out, so I'm going to go the old school. That's enough now. Right, chatted enough. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you, Sid. Thank you, Darius. Thank you, Sean. Thank you to all who've watched us. We are out. See you later.
It's just different.